Japan, 1160 AD. Tokiwa Gozen holds two young boys in her arms. She's the wife to the head of the Minamoto family. This used to be a pretty good gig, were it not for the fact that the Taira family existed. The Taira were the Capulets to the Minamoto's Montagues, two houses alike in dignity who hated each other's guts. Until today. Today, the Taira snuff out the Minamoto for good. The woman is stopped by a man with a royal entourage. His name is Kiyomori, the head of the Taira clan. Excuse me, ma'am, I'm gonna need you to hand over those boys real quick.
Oh my gosh, this is so awkward. What boys?
Ma'am, let's not make this harder than it needs to be.
I'll marry you if you let them go.
Ma'am?
I mean it.
Well, in that case, let him go, boys! The younger boy, Yoshitsune, was only 1 year old that day, the day his father and brothers were put to the sword, and his mother taken away from him forever, the day he was separated from his brother. But he would spend the rest of his life fighting for revenge. Oh no. Oh, no. Someone help. I've fallen victim to digital crime. Oh, what are the odds? At least, 16% annually. What? According to a recent Javelin report, 40 million Americans were targeted just in 2022. What can I do? Well, you could, not have criminals target you. Or you could get Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura does everything you need to feel secure on the internet. They got $1 million fraud insurance, cyber vault for reassurance, spam swatted calls are screened, antivirus activated, data brokers in a tizzy, managed passwords cause you're busy, VPNs to keep you hidden, filter web time for your children. That last one didn't rhyme. Nobody's perfect. I set up my account when they sponsored this video. It took 2 minutes, and now I'm glad I've got someone watching my back. Aura alerts me of any unusual purchases, and they've already begun taking my name off of data broker websites. Their pricing starts at just $12 a month, but you can try it for $0 for 14 days if you follow my link. Start your free trial at aura.com/jackrackham. The story of Minamoto no Yoshitsune is the story of a warrior monk on an epic quest for revenge that brought him to the forefront of a war that ushered in a new era and tested the bonds of brotherhood. It's such a good premise that over the years, people have just started making up stories about him, which makes separating fact from fiction a little blurry. Some of these stories are really good though, so rather than cut them out, I've added a little indicator up here to give you a heads up on what's history, what's legend, and what parts I embellished on my own, because if they get to make the story better with lies, then so do I. Yoshitsune was taken to a certain temple, where the monks taught him swordsmanship and strategy. That's right, while you were popping zits and sleeping through geometry, Yoshitsune was literally studying the way of the blade. Taira Kiyomori, the man who killed his father, one day realized that badass samurai monk school probably wasn't the best place to keep the orphaned son of his arch foe, so he sent orders to relocate the boy somewhere else. But Yoshitsune snuck off into the night. Kiyomori was maybe a little concerned about that, but he had other things on his mind. Ever since that day he killed the Minamoto clan in 1160, Kiyomori had become the linchpin to imperial authority and the most powerful man in Japan. He had inserted his family into every level of government, even into the emperor's bloodline. If you weren't a Taira, you weren't anybody. Well, one day, the royal prince Mochihito comes out and says it. You know, no one else wants to say it, but we're all thinking it. I don't like the Taira family, and I think we should kill them all. Prince Mochihito raised his banner, took to the battlefield, and was immediately killed. Game over, right? Wrong. Prince Mochihito might be dead, but his RSVP to kill the Taira family was still making its way across the country. Yoshitsune, meanwhile, had grown into an incredible warrior. Such an incredible warrior, he even got his own groupie. He beat this great hulking demon of a man named Benkei in a duel, and ever since then, Benkei started following him around like a lost puppy. Yoshitsune arrives home one day, Benkei in tow, when he learns that one of Prince Mochihito's RSVPs landed in the hands of Yoshitsune's long-lost brother, and he was currently leading a rebellion against the Taira.
Wow, can you believe it? Yesterday you were an orphan, and now you've got 2 brothers!
You're not my brother. Yoshitsune takes the long journey to Kamakura to meet his brother at last. I never thought I'd see you again. My name is Yoshitsune. Call me Yoritomo. Oh, that's so cool. Our dad was Yoshitomo. We've got like this whole yo thing going on. Yeah, too much yo. Thank God for our brother Noriyori.
3 brothers!
Still not my brother. Who's he? I don't know, some guy. How's the war going? Oh, it's awesome. Little bit of a rough start, but yeah. The Taira army? Call them the 3,000 Stooges. Last week we won a battle because they got scared off by a flock of birds. That's incredible. What's our next move? Allow me to explain. You and I have a cousin named Yoshinaka. This family tree, man. Yoshinaka launched a rebellion of his own at the same time as me, and already liberated the capital city of Kyoto. Except, well, liberate was a bit of a strong word. Everyone could tell if this guy stayed in Kyoto and became the power behind the throne, he was going to be a terrible ruler. But the emperor, okay, not the emperor, there's a retired emperor who was the actual power behind the emperor, except the Taira were the actual power behind him. You follow me? Japan is just a nesting doll of figureheads. That guy, the not Emperor Go Shirakawa, he pretends he's just a kindly old man, but he's observant, and he's sharp too. He smiles and thanks Yoshinaka for his hard work, but tells him the job isn't done, and he has to lead all his armies south in order to cut off the head of the Taira clan once and for all. Then, the not emperor messages his pen pal and invites him to come to the capital and take over the country. You're the emperor's pen pal. Not the actual emperor, but right. And he's just gonna give you the country? What can I say? My letters were very polite. There's just one problem. The Taira family kicked our cousin's butt, so he ended up coming back to the capital earlier than expected. He locked the not emperor under house arrest and declared himself the military leader of Japan. That, Yoshitsune, is where you come in. Yoshitsune surrounds his cousin's forces, and fighting side by side, back to back with Benkei, he cuts them down in scores. Give it up, cousin. Your betrayal ends here.
Betrayal? I did all the work! The Emperor is a conniving old geezer!
Well, so he's not actually the Emperor. The technical term is Daijo Tenno, or Joko. It started with Empress Jito in the 7th century, but especially during the Heian period, what's known as cloistered rule was a very popular form of... Yoshinaka attempted to flee from the battle to give himself an honorable death, but he got stuck in the mud and killed by a stray arrow. Yoshitsune enters the capital alongside his brothers and is hailed by the people of Kyoto as a hero. Your Majesty, you must be Yoritomo. Oh, and is this your brother? I've heard so much about him. I mean, he's cool, but I'm in charge. Yes, of course. I am forever in your debt. But if you could do me one small favor, there's still the problem of the Taira clan. I have no doubt you will succeed where your cousin failed. After all, the best generals make the best leaders. Yoshitsune again leads the battle against the Taira, personally heading a shock charge down the mountains Gandalf style and driving the Taira across the sea. Although some speculate the Taira were caught so off guard because the old bat Go Shirakawa had been independently messaging the Taira, telling them he was getting ready for peace talks right before the ambush started. Go Shirakawa awards Yoshitsune with special honors, as if to tell his older brother Yoritomo, I'm the one your brother listens to. Yoshitsune continues to win battle after battle in the most incredible and dramatic fashion. With just 150 men, he drove the Taira out of their base because, he and Benkei counted for about 1,000 men each. He chased them west across Japan until they had nowhere left to run. It was a scene very much like the destruction of the Minamoto clan 20 years earlier. Taira's ships were ablaze, the whole family slaughtered in battle. The Taira's puppet emperor was taken into the arms of his grandmother before she leapt into the sea. Yoshitsune's revenge against the man who killed his father was finally at hand. Taira no Kiyomori, you killed my father. Prepare to... Who are you? I'm the leader of the Taira clan? You're not the man who killed my father. No, he died during the war. My cousin stole the honor of slaying Taira no Kiyomori? No, he just got sick. I see. So the spirits of the Minamoto clan conspired to lay upon him a fever so fierce that the cooling waters given to soothe his pain turned to steam upon his brow. We're pretty sure it was meningitis. Then, at least my father can finally rest. Your father, Minamoto Yoshitomo. Yeah, you know him? Dude, he literally kidnapped the emperor. I don't see how we're the bad guys in this scenario. Huh. Yeah, you know when you put it like that. You wanna join us? No.
Wow! That was so cool! We're such a good team! That was the best!
Thanks, man. Yoshitsune is again hailed as a hero, but his big brother Yoritomo was not pleased. Taking the puppet emperor back alive, instead of letting him escape with his grandma on a one-way trip to Atlantis, had been a crucial part of Yoritomo's plan to get leverage over the wily Go-Shirakawa. But gee, Go-Shirakawa seems to think Yoshitsune did an awesome job, and now he's going to give him more lands and more titles because he's been such a faithful servant to the emperor. Yoritomo is a little worried that Yoshitsune might be like his cousin and try to take control of Japan just because he did all of the work of fighting for it. That's not actually true, but when Yoshitsune returned to Kyoto, he got some very bad news. Welcome back, young Padawan. I'm so sorry to hear that your brother took away all of your titles. He what? You know, if it were me in charge, I think you would have made a fine governor. And then he sent those assassins after you. Those were his? But Benkei killed them all, I'm sure. Well, yes, but it's not a very nice gesture. I'm sorry, my boy. I never expected Yoritomo would turn on you like this. I wish I could have prepared you. But if you want to strike back, you have my blessing, even against your own brother. I only have one brother. You see what's just happened? From a place of complete impotence, the not Emperor Go-Shirakawa had maneuvered himself out of the hands of Taira Kiyomori, upturned Kyoto's first conqueror Yoshinaka, and had now driven a wedge between the two brothers, meaning that if Yoshitsune won, he would owe the legitimacy of his rule to the favor of the emperor. Unfortunately, Yoshitsune's first plan to go on the offensive backfired, so he ended up hiding up north. Yoritomo was going to finish things, both with Yoshitsune and the not emperor. Yoritomo! Oh, aren't you a sight for sore eyes? Your brother was here? Oh, it was dreadful. He held an old man to the point of a blade and forced me to sign that awful decree. Cut the crap, old man. Sign this. This isn't just a warrant for Yoshitsune's execution. It seems I've lost. What Go-Shirakawa signed was a document that allowed Yoritomo to station his vassals and operatives all throughout Japan. In other words, he didn't need the royal family anymore. The fate of Japan came down to which brother would emerge victorious. Despite his earlier popularity, Yoshitsune was holed up back north with just about 20 followers when Yoritomo's army came down to bear on his hideout. While Yoshitsune said his goodbyes, Benkei held the bridge, mowing down wave after wave of attackers as they tried to cross, forcing Yoritomo's whole army to retreat. When they were put on the back foot, they brought out a row of archers, all taking aim at the one lone monk on the bridge, firing volley after volley of arrows. When the last volley ended, the demon warrior was still standing. Yoritomo ordered his men again to cross the bridge and fight. The men at the vanguard were trembling, not so much advancing as being shoved forward by the rows of men behind them, until they reached the crest of the bridge and saw that Benkei had died standing. Back inside, Yoshitsune looked over his shoulder. Thanks, bro. Yoshitsune died at his own hand. Yoritomo became the undisputed dictator of Japan. But the legends don't stop there. Some say that Yoshitsune survived and crossed the narrow sea to the island of Hokkaido, where he took on a new name. Some went even further, that he traveled as far as mainland Asia, where his name became known far and wide, because that new name was Genghis Khan. I mean, that last one can be traced down to one dude BSing his college roommates, but it's fun to imagine.